first story is how I became a YouTuber. So this happened in 2018. This was when I was 36 years old. And 2018 was the breakthrough year of my life, but that was also the worst, the absolute rock bottom of my life. I hated everything about my life. And until then, like, life was pretty good. Like, I went to good school, I got good grades. I joined the workforce and I got promoted pretty quickly. I moved from Sydney to Tokyo to San Francisco. And when I was 31 years old, I was the CEO of a tech company in San Francisco. We're a digital marketing company, 20 people, not massive, but I was getting paid 300 grand when I was 31, which is, like, back then with the inflation, was like much bigger than now. So I was getting paid well. I'd signed partnership with Google, Facebook, Twitter. I was getting invited to Las Vegas. I was in the same party as Mark Zuckerberg. Like, on the surface, I made it. That looked very successful. But throughout my career, I felt unfulfilled. I always felt like there was always more to give. I always felt like there was more potential I had. So anyway, that was my career. And 2016 is just when everything just started to crumble down. I was in San Francisco, and back then it was a smartphone bubble. So it's like the AI now. It's the hottest thing. That's all anyone's talking about. Everyone's making apps. Instagram, I think, was made in 2010. I went over there to San Francisco in 2011. So that's when all these startups were coming up, like Uber. A lot of them. And, but yeah, 2016, that's when the bubble just bursted. And so what happens, just like AI now, it's an AI bubble. If you start an AI startup, you get funded like 50 million like this. I went to so many meetings. Kids like you, 5-people company, I go in there and like, we just got funded 100 million. We have no idea what to do. We're going to Las Vegas. Do you want to come? Don't bring your wallet, don't bring anything. But that happened 3 times in 2012 to me. So it was like that. And I was doing marketing agency, and they were my clients. So they were paying me to do marketing. But then there were 1,000 app developers, and they just started getting bankrupt, basically. They didn't make it. So my clients just went down, down, down. My revenue went down. And I eventually get sacked. Yeah, that sucked. You think if you're the CEO, you're the boss, but you're not. There's the board, there's the shareholders. They're not really the boss either, because it's not like one man's decision. But so there's really no one was a boss. But so I certainly wasn't. So I got sacked. I lost everything. Lost my job, lost my house, lost my car, lost my visa, sold all my furniture to repay them. I absolutely lost everything. 2016, and I was basically deported back to Japan, feeling like an absolute loser. And when I got back to Japan, I was just so desperate to prove to myself I wasn't a loser. So I joined this startup. It was a unicorn in Japan. I met the founder, and he's like, we're so innovative and creative and dynamic, you should come join us. And I was so desperate, so I just joined. Like, I knew it smelled fishy, but I was just so desperate. I didn't want my LinkedIn profile to be like I was a loser, so I joined this company. And it didn't take long for me to realize that there was no innovation, no creativity. It was just a grinding sales company. This company would track how many phone calls I made every day. I would track how many meetings I went to every day. And they'll give me this sales target that literally went up every month. And when there's a sales target, if you don't make it, if you make like 95%, they'll make you feel like a loser. And if you make it, next month, the target's going to be higher. Like, it's one of the two. You're a loser, or it's going to be harder next month. And within 1 year of joining this company, I got depressed. As I said, I hated everything about my life. 2-3 years ago, I was hanging out with Zuckerberg, and there I was in Tokyo making sales phone calls every day. That absolutely sucked. And that's when I developed an addiction. Maybe I talked about this, an addiction to online gaming. Played League of Legends from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning every day without a fail, because that was my escape. I hated my life, so yeah, I needed to escape reality. I didn't want to face reality. So I'd go to the virtual world every year, every night. And yeah, back then, I play online games until like 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, get up at 7 a.m., catch a train to this place that I didn't want to go to. And when I got to the office, I used to go to the bathroom like 5 times a day and just sit there and watch YouTube. And that was the absolute rock bottom of my life. Yeah, and that was 2018. So not long ago. But just everything changed in just one decision, just one meeting that I went to. This changed everything in my life. And this was November 2018, Thursday morning, 11 a.m. I remember it clearly. So I was at this meeting, sales meeting of about 200 people. It was a weekly meeting. They just loved to talk about their numbers. That's all they did. Talk about numbers like 6 times a week. And 200 people here, weekly meeting. And there was this executive that I hated, that he'll come up and be like, oh, well done guys, we hit that sales record, give yourselves a clap. And 200 salespeople, mostly in their 20s, just, yeah, just give them a clap. And I used to just sit at the back. Everyone was wearing a suit, but I was wearing jeans because I didn't give a shit, back then. And I just complained in my head. I was like, this is bullshit. Why do I give a shit about numbers on the wall? Numbers go up and it doesn't change my salary, which it didn't. It doesn't. When you go up to a certain point, like it doesn't change much. So I was always complaining. Just, this guy's so greedy, he's an asshole, blah, blah, blah. But this certain morning in 2018, I was a little bit different. Like I was always pointing finger at the executive. But then I thought to myself, maybe he was born to do business. Maybe he was born to do business. That's why he's good at business. And that's why he gets excited by numbers. And I thought, I'm not born to do business. And this was 15 years into my career. I've done these things that I was proud of. But I think to myself, oh, man, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, this is why I've always felt like I was not living up to my potential. This is why I felt unfulfilled for 15 years. But I kind of just said to myself, I'm a good businessman. I convinced myself because everyone else was. As I said, I was like an asylum seeker. So that moment, 2 things happened. Firstly, for the first time in my life, I stopped blaming, and started looking at myself. I was always blaming someone until then. The executives, the boss, the economy, my parents, Donald Trump, blaming anyone but myself. And another thing I realized was, for the first time in my life, I questioned myself for working in a corporate. Until then, I just thought, graduate from uni, get a job. If you don't like it, get another job. Get another job. That's all I thought. So that day, I made a decision. To post something on Instagram every day about soccer. That was my passion. I promised myself that I'm going to post something on Instagram before I start playing online game. That was the only thing that I did every day. And I did that. And I did that for 6 weeks, and I got 3,000 followers, which at the time, just mind-blowing. It's like, well, I'm not even a designer, but I'm posting something. And back then, there wasn't much short videos. It was just photos on Instagram. So I was designing myself this soccer video when I had 3,000 followers. So that got my momentum going. Then did it for another 6 weeks. I had 6,000 followers on Instagram and 3,000 on Twitter. So 9,000 followers in 3 months. And I just kept going. I did everything. I did Instagram, I did Twitter, I wrote blogs, I made my own sports website. And then exactly 1 year after I made that decision, I started YouTube. And I remember like after the third video I made, I told my partner, you know what, maybe I was born to do YouTube. So for the first time in my life, I'm like, oh, maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Because I was watching myself and I was editing myself, but I was like, oh, I look pretty good. So I kept going. And within 1 year of starting YouTube, I was making more money on YouTube than in corporate. So I left. So yeah, that's how I left corporate. It kind of just happened. Well, it didn't kind of just happen. I worked hard. But really the key thing is that day, November 2018, that day in the meeting, that when I made that decision. And that decision was to stop blaming, because that's really what I was doing. And when you blame someone, you're giving that power away. So that's what I realized. If I say I'm unhappy because of my boss, it means that my boss has the power to my happiness. Yeah, if I'm saying I'm anxious because of the housing prices, I'm giving my happiness to the housing prices or whatever's happening out there, which is none of it's my control. So, but I brought it all back to me, and I made the decision to be responsible for everything that happens in my life. And that's when I feel like I became the owner. I became the boss of my own life, because I don't blame anyone for anything. Like if my wife is late, I used to blame her. My wife would be late like 30 minutes, like almost every time. I used to get pissed off at her. But now I'm like, well, I'm the one that chose her. I'm the one that chose to marry her, so I'm not going to blame her for being late. It's my choice. So if there's a traffic, I don't get annoyed. I'm the one that chose to drive during that traffic time. So if I was going to get pissed off with the traffic, might as well get up at 6 a.m. and drive then. So that's how I see life now. So nothing happens to me. Like everything happens because of my choice. Yeah. So I asked you a question. Yeah. Are you the boss of your own life? And you said yes?
I say only recently I've learned how to, because I think I went through, in the past year, I went through quite a big personal journey.
Okay.
I think a year ago, if you asked me that question, I wouldn't have answered it. I think I was quite lost. But I think I've worked quite hard in the past year to figure out what I wanted to do. Yeah.
Yeah, good for you. But yeah, for you guys, I mean, I only really realised this when I was 36 years old, so, way later than you. But yeah, if you want to be the boss of your own life, I think you have to be conscious. I didn't really think about it before. Like I was in this super miserable place. But who's the boss of my own life? But yeah, now I am. Like I can do anything. I'm not blaming anyone for anything. I'm responsible for everything that happens in my life, so I'm the boss of my life. I think I told you guys my goal is to inspire 10 million people before I turn 50. So in the next 7 years. Like, why not? So that's it. Take full responsibility for everything, and you can be the boss. And when you're boss, life is awesome, because I can do anything.